Everything's set up there.
Ceiling fan. That's what everybody needs.
Live on TikTok as well.
Ooh.
Perfect. Put that up there just so everybody knows ramp bumpers are cool.
Do you have this thing on yet?
So, how you guys doing tonight? Good?
Good.
How we doing, Freebie? Well, I'm in good shape, buddy. Excited about tonight.
What are you guys so excited about?
Yeah, we got all kinds of great stuff going on. Great stuff happening. We're gonna let everybody know about it tonight.
Perfect. Give Casey a bit to get back in here.
Yeah,
Let me know when you're getting ready to hit the go button.
we're on.
Huh?
We're on.
Oh, okay.
There you are.
Yep, sorry.
That's all right.
Perfect.
I think the last time that I was on with Scotty, I had unruly dogs in the house too. So
Blade was causing a ruckus, I do recall.
now we have Tito the Terrible. So
Is that the little puppy?
yeah, Darlene's corgi.
Well, with opening remarks, I'll start off with the 2024 Demolition Derby Expo. I just want to start off by saying how blessed and how fortunate I really am. And a lot of days I ask myself, I'm not sure why, but I have been blessed with the expo this year and in the past to work with what I believe to be three of the best people in demolition, three of the best people in demolition derby world. Always continuously looking out for the good of others and continuously pushing the needle in the right direction for demolition derby. And I'm humbled and grateful. That's kind of how I wanted to start this off about the expo and how wonderful of a trip it's been and how it's grown. And I thank Mark Elliott, Jeff Showman, and Casey Smith for letting me be a small part of it and bringing what I can to it. And I'm blessed, humbled, and fortunate. Thank you, guys.
Well, I don't think you can necessarily have to thank each one of us. I mean, we're all fortunate to have each other to do this event because, last year was its first year where it got moved to its current location, which is in Preble County, Ohio, at Eaton, Ohio, is its hometown. And it was going to be a larger event that was going to take a lot of people, even outside us four. Mark being in his hometown and having home field advantage there, he was able to pull in a lot of good people that help us staff it. And they'll be back this year. They come back to the table after last year's event with a lot of great ideas, looking forward to this year to make improvements, just in little things they saw that we didn't have the opportunity to see with everything that we were doing. So that's the one thing that, everybody's going to understand is we're thankful to have the people behind it, behind the scenes. We're just four guys, and trust me, this event don't happen with just us four guys.
That's for true.
And it definitely doesn't happen without the support of all the fabulous people that come there and buy a ticket, that come in and, help participate from everything from the show floor to the exhibition classes with the youth, and getting to experience the youth programs that we have there, and the participating youth all day long in various areas. So again, at Eaton, Ohio, and
Yep.
the date, Frankie?
April 6th, 2024, Preble County Fairgrounds, Eaton, Ohio.
Yep. Okay. I got to put this one clear. Hold on. Go ahead.
What? Take over the reins, Frankie.
Yeah, so again, we'll be back there talking about the exhibitors and promoters. There's a great field of both, and we'll be putting up a list of exhibitors, which everybody's kind of this year an exhibitor. There'll be promoters and vendors combined. I think we have a few more than normal this year, so that's always a big plus to know that we're growing in that aspect of more people wanting to make more connections, and vendors and promoters. If you're not already involved, there's still time to get involved, and it's a great experience, and make a great connections across the country.
And some of the stuff that we've done to help with people to find the information and for people to connect better is we actually have its own website this year, like we did not have last year. Correct, Frankie?
That is correct. Yep, I'm becoming a master of all trades. Yeah, we do have a website, Demolition Derby Expo.com. There will be the rules on there, and a little insight, and registration is also there. And you cadet drivers. Also, it's a place to go for your the letter that we need all the drivers need a notarized form, and that form can be gotten off of the website, demoderby.com, demoderbyexpo.com.
Okay.
Christy Germain just put the link to the expo in the comments of the Facebook live, not the TikTok live, just the Facebook live.
Awesome. Thank you, Christy.
Good. See, that's the part I told you about, people behind the scenes.
Yes, sir.
So, and then, yeah, so, you can go there. You can find out a lot of the information about the expo. There's a lot of things going on there. The lodging, I know that there's some stuff that just went out this week that Frankie worked on. There's more stuff in the area, and you and Mark solidified the camping option at the campgrounds as well, correct?
That is correct. The camping you can do directly through the fairgrounds at Preble County on our Facebook page. Also, there is the number to call the fairgrounds, and you can deal with them direct. They were nice enough. There's some sort of eclipse party going on that in like Monday or Sunday or Monday, and of course some of the rooms are a little expensive or booked up because of the eclipse party. So sorry about that, but we do have camping available, probably a little better price, or there are some other places in town that do have some availability.
So, and I believe that's Richmond, Indiana, where the main hotel belt is there, right?
That is correct. It's just, Eaton's right on the line there, and it's only about a 10-minute drive from where we stayed there, right back in Ohio, and right to the fairgrounds. It's not far at all.
All right. So that pretty much gives you the skinny on where to find the information. If you don't want to listen to us beat our gums about it, you can just point, click, and find out all you need.
Yeah. Casey, you might want to touch on the exhibitor Friday night after setup dinner.
Okay. Yeah. Friday we always allocate for exhibitor move-in, to get everybody inside and get ready for the awesome kickoff on Saturday for all the attendees and everybody traveling to come to the expo. So this year we're doing, every year we try to have a Friday night activity. This year we're doing something a little different. Going back to the topic of all the people who make this expo a success from all different levels. Without our exhibitors, we really wouldn't have much of a show or a lot to offer to a lot of people. So after the exhibitors set up all day Friday, we have an exhibitors dinner Friday evening, which is open to exhibitors only, which are, anybody that has a booth or a show space on the floor. And them tickets will be available for, I think, $10 ticket, Frankie? Is that what we come up with?
That is correct. Basically, we're going to pay part of it, and we're only going to charge $10 for anybody for dinner that night. And the ticket will be available right at the dinner. So after you set up, we get everything set up about 6. I think we have opening remarks, and 6:30 we're going to eat dinner, and again, fellowship, friendship, and just hang out with everybody. A more laid back situation.
Yep. So, and I believe it's going to be a 3 main course catered dinner. Right buffet style, but it's going to have 3 good main courses, plenty of sides. So, for $10 a plate, you're not going to go anywhere else right now in this financial landscape and get a full belly with this quality of food.
That's for sure. Yeah. I think next on the list is, as we did last year, Top Notch out of Illinois, Bill Miller and crew and his crew and people have put Easter egg hunt. They did a tremendous job last year, and we want to thank them. There'll be an Easter egg hunt for the kids this year again. Again, brought to you by Top Notch Promotions and Company from Illinois and Bill Miller. Thank you guys. And again, as Casey said, there's way more than us that are pulling on this rope to make it great. And we thank all them for sure.
Yeah. So, even, if you're, you got to bring the carload of kids along. We talked about last year there being something for everyone at this event. And we focus it around the building of the youth and its participation in this sport. So even if you get a kid that can't participate in Power Wheels yet, they can run around and collect Easter eggs.
That's right. That's right.
So,
speaking of the kids, the RC Derby guys from New York will be in. Always a big hit. The kids, I think you can bring your cars, or they'll have some for rent like they did last year. And that place was solid busy from the time it opened to the time we closed the expo. So the RC Derby guys from New York do an amazing job with setting that up and letting you can rent one and do yourself a RC Derby. Again, keeping everybody involved from the little ones to the big ones.
Yeah, I'm surprised we didn't get an additional electric bill for all that charging and those batteries going on for that whole day straight, because they were burning up the juice all day.
For sure.
So,
that's for sure.
Just trying, and then what you got, the model cars also.
Model car people, yeah, we got the model cars there, which is always cool. Where they build the models, and I think there's something at the Bash where they have a contest where they judge them or something like that. But those people will be there, and stop in and see them, and how neat that is. And again, like everything else, I seen one the other day with a model car with a cradle and header protectors and everything in Demolition Derby world. We're going to make it better, and those models were incredible.
That's pretty amazing. I mean, I see the work. I mean, I have one, and actually, I think Darlene and Chance got it for me for a Christmas present, and it's a mimic of one of my old school wagons, and it's just amazing. I mean, I don't know if I could build one of those. You know what I mean?
Right.
The amount of detail that all these guys that build these and how they do it, it's pretty commendable. I mean, that just they're I just think they're pretty awesome when you see it sitting on a shelf. So
Absolutely.
I remember I saw one, Frank. You had a ramp bumper on the back of it. It was the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, ramp bumpers are cool. Like everything else in Derby World, there's a time and a place for them. Let them rip. Tater. Yep. You know when you're getting into. I'm good with it.
Anything else you want to add, Scotty?
I think that's all, Casey. I think that's all.
That's all for now. I'm sure you'll muster something else up here by the time we're done. So we got the model cars, and then of course, every year some of the stuff we try to do is we try to create some sessions that are informative, educational, also help bring some light on some stuff from people's experiences. So our breakout sessions once again are on the menu. We did scale them back a little bit this year. We're not having as many, but primarily that's due to we have some additional new things on the show floor that'll be there. So collectively as a group, we decided we didn't necessarily want to pull people off the floor as much as we did last year, just because it's such a good opportunity for everybody to see the people that not only traveled so far to set up and represent their products or what they're about or their brands or their promotions, but to help them get as much exposure as they can. And also the attendees, we want everybody that's coming there to make sure that by the time you leave at the end of the night or the next day, that you really got the most value out of it you can. But the breakout sessions, we're having 4 this year, and I don't believe we've actually scheduled the exact time of when, but we're having 4. So we're going to have probably 2 in the morning, 2 in the afternoon, or depending upon how the day looks with what we feel, maybe 3 will be in the afternoon. Who knows? But we're going to have Robbie Crittenden there from Simple Solutions, and Robbie's got a wealth of resources to bring to the table in Demolition Derby. So you don't want to miss this. I've been impressed by a lot of things, and the 4.6 program and the 4.6 parts that he has available and the knowledge for the 4.6 Ford engine is just, it's phenomenal.
Changes the game, that's for sure.
I mean, it's real. To me, it's great because you got the SB2 small block Chevy platform out there that's used so widely. You got the LS platform, that's been predominantly, I associate that with Jeff Showman and his work and development with the LS platforms, and amazing from everything from regular fuel to alcohol. And now you got the 4.6 Ford, which not now, but I think it's been out there. But you've got competitive platforms to choose from, whether you want it to be a blue oval or a bow tie. And it's really neat because them engines run. Last year in the cadet class, I think there was a couple out there that were, since it's a motor swap class, essentially, right? Some impressive power plants. So, you're going to get to learn a lot about that from Robbie and also a lot of the other products. He's got he's a great add to the expo and the resources he brings.
Also, let's not forget about the car he's bringing. Any youth that registers and shows up at the expo will be put in a drawing for the car that Robbie's building. It's a turnkey car. They'll have the option to run it there or keep it and run it to somewhere else or another venue, but it will be there, and including the compact Jeffy Farm compact class will be eligible
Yeah,
for
so be kids. So, you're going to get a simple solutions turnkey hot rod if you win it.
all the goodies.
All the goodies.
So, I mean, it's another great prize for a kid from the compact going to full size, or a full size kid wanting to step up, maybe from a cadet to a SMW, a youth full size build. There's the equipment, there's the motor, the tranny, he has all the equipment to do that.
Yeah, I mean, those power plants, when they're put together, I mean, when they got the right combination, I mean, they're pretty amazing. So
Yep.
that's a great thing. We want to thank him. And again, that's somebody who we didn't ask him to do that. He offered to do that. So that's another person willing to invest in the future of these kids, in the future of, building a new champion out there. So, but after that, we have Craig Bedell, which
Yep.
a very competitive compact guy, and you want to talk about a little bit where he's from, Frankie? I know.
Yeah. Craig, I believe, from up in the New York area, and a couple of years ago he ran Stoneboro with us and got to talk to him a little bit, and knew when I seen the car and inspection it, wow, that's a very well built car. And Jeff Schumann had made the connection for us, and we spoke with Craig, and man, he was excited. He's excited about coming and doing it, and I see Craig in minivans, I see him in street stock compacts, all the way up to built stuff. So his knowledge is wide and vast, and in various areas of the compact and minivan class, and he's got some great ideas. He's bringing some pieces, and I think again, we do this to come take advantage. Come bring your notepad, take advantage, pick these guys' brains while they're there. Again, it's to learn and improve yourself. So, and please come take advantage of these guys, giving us their time and spending their money to come and do these things for us. I wish y'all take advantage of that.
Yep. And then, and once we have somebody, from full size world to compact world, and then me and Jeff Showman are gonna, in tandem, we're gonna do a youth full size build overview, and we're gonna be talking about a lot of things from everywhere from safety in the car to some build strategies to and a lot of these presentations we have a big screen in there. We got a lot of photos. We got a lot of information we put up. So we just don't stand there and, run our mouths. We actually have a lot of good information. We have a lot of good backup helping us do these presentations. But, we're going to really cover a lot of stuff that, we've been working with the youth programs. We started organizing. I would say that the first time we started organizing a youth program was in 2014. Actually, wait, I'm wrong. Not 2014. I want to say 16. It all runs together anymore. But at the Keystone Nationals, we actually were able to run the first full-size youth class, and it was here in Pennsylvania where we actually got a full-size program going. And, there's a lot of people that were behind the scenes there to help that happen. Davey Chapman, Chris Furster, a lot of other people. So the start of this didn't just come from me or Frankie or Jeff Showman or a lot of other people, for the youth. We were lucky to have it collectively come together. And then today, here we are, how many years later, where we have a fairly organized, put together program with everybody working coast to coast practically. But one of the big things that we want to reinforce with this youth program in the overview, and what me and Jeff Showman is going to try to get across, is the safety out there on the track for the driver and for the occupant, because surprisingly, most of the injuries that we've seen in any youth classes has predominantly been the passenger, right, Frankie?
Absolutely, 100%.
And you know, we're gonna have a lot of pictures.
Yes.
And I'm going to tell you ahead of time right now, a lot of these pictures that we got are not pretty ones. But you need to see them to put it in perspective. So, you know, naturally it's, you know, not of any injured kids or anything like that. It's just some adult injuries from passengers. And they all could have been avoided. I mean, they could have 100% been avoided. So, we're going to talk about how important it is for them thought processes in the shot before you ever hit the track. We're going to talk about, you know, the ideals behind that, a lot of information about the overview, a lot of what we see in the SMW full size class, you know. So if you're looking for some competitive edges, you know, because the season's pretty much, you know, it seems like we used to have an off season in this sport, but it's rolling. So if you want to get some inside information, as you want to call it, about the builds and about what we see in the inspection lines, and also on the track, you know, get yourself a seat. Even if you're not planning on running, you know, any events maybe this year, maybe you want to get a little more detail or information before, get yourself in the seat. So, you know, that'll be me and Jeff Showman. And one of the things we're going to do too, we've seen some awesome team shows across the U.S. You know, Scotty's been in my ear about one a little bit. You know,
Any day, Casey, just let me know.
but I've been fortunate enough to, you know, I've been on that stage 3 times and had some great experiences. You know, not all winning experiences, but we've had some winning experiences in a team format. We've been able to participate in local team formats. We've been to a lot of team shows and assisted other crews. So we're going to be putting together, you know, I'm going to be putting together a whole overview of team show successes. And that's going to be everything from how you, in my opinion, how you build a winning team, how you choose the right team, how you choose the right team show to run, resources that I think are super beneficial and key to winning, logistics. There's a lot to it besides just filling out an entry form and getting 3 people to show up. I mean, that's as simple as I can tell you there. So we're going to talk about all that stuff. And I've been lucky enough to be exposed to some great people's successes, you know, not only in Demolition Derby, but some other motorsports management and also other entities. And it can all work together if you know what to pick and choose and how to use it. So again, you know, all this stuff will be there that day.
Yep. I think next we got the Mark Elliott MB527 Freedom Ticket Card. You'll be able to go there. I'm pretty sure Mark will have that car there for display, and there'll be tickets available. I'm pretty sure that car will run Metal Mayhem with the Feldkamp show. I'll be hauling that car out with Mark. We'll both be there. If you've seen online, when Mark Elliott focuses, his focus is laser. That car will be as good as it looks. I was fortunate enough last year to make the trip to the Toast Show, River City Rampage with Mark, and that kid won it. And not only do you get the car, but call it good or bad, but you get Mark with it. And I think about 2:30 or 3 a.m. I looked back, and I'm not sure that kid he might have gave the car back to Mark at that point. My guy, Mark Elliott, was pounding, banging, welding, doing, you know, just working him to death. Again, where a lot of those people were gone, the pits were empty, and that poor kid and his buddies was about ragged out. And I said, "Hey, Mark," I said, "enough." He looked at him. He said, "I'll see you boys at 8 sharp." 8. They were like, "It's." I said, "Well, you'll get a couple hours." And he's not. He's probably going to do the same thing from 8 till it's time to get on the track. And Mark did that right up until the car went on the track. Mark Kelly, and I looked at him. You talk about exhausted, and but not only do you get to get that car, the experience, the knowledge, the know-how, the work ethic, the work. You get Mark Elliott, and well, that's something that maybe he doesn't put on that car that he should. That an extra level of energy and add on, because it's real. I've seen it. Yeah, stop in and see Mark. Get your tickets. MB527 Freedom Ticket, and all going to the Unified Point Series. With the six of them this year, all the different classes. Definitely stop out and see that.
Yeah. I mean, one thing, if a lot of people out there that if you haven't had the opportunity to know Mark Elliott and understand a lot of what drives him, and I'll be honest with you, us as a group, sometimes we wonder probably what drives him, right, Frankie? But I can guarantee you a couple things. Number one, that car will be built to a standard that even Mark won't accept okay is okay. Number two, that man will help you find things in yourself that you didn't know you were capable of finding. So that alone is stuff you can't buy. You can read about it, you can hear about it, but until you experience it and work with somebody like a man with his passion for this sport,
Yeah,
you don't get it.
yeah.
I mean, that's and I can't even explain it as much as I'd like to say that, but that car is built with some of the most finely made parts available in this sport.
That's it.
From power plant to wheels, tires. When you look at ME527 and that Freedom Ticket car, you got a hot rod. I mean, you got something that it's well put together, from the people's parts behind it to the craftsmanship from the man doing it. I know he gets some help here and there from some local fans. I call them family, but they're probably like family to Mark, friends. And when that car is ready to go and they haul it to that show, whoever's won that, winning Freedom Ticket, they got an experience coming.
Sure.
And you're going to have all the tools you need in your corner to win. So, and that's something that you can't, for, I don't know how much those tickets, I mean, to buy that
$100 a ticket.
Yeah.
Can't touch what.
That ticket was $1,000. It's money well spent.
I can guarantee you. Like I said, I got to experience it. Mark never quit.
You're not going to just go out and find it.
Yeah.
That's a unique package right there.
For sure.
And also, the expo is a great place to, not only the ME527 point series, but any promoter out there that maybe you never had an opportunity to meet. There's quite a few of them registered there. You can learn a lot about their shows, and I've really emphasized this so many times. Maybe you go to a derby, and I'll pick on, I'll use Frankie for an example, okay? Just because I don't want to hurt anybody else's feelings, so I don't mind hurting.
I got big shoulders. I can carry the load.
But I can use him as an example. But you go to a show, and no matter where it's at, whether it be Illinois, Indiana, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Tennessee, Kentucky, wherever, all right, and you try to talk to a promoter, and there's a couple, sometimes you catch them at the right mood, and they're smiling and happy and shaking hands and kissing babies, and then, you turn around and, they're either looking for the closest exit or the tallest cliff to jump off of, or whatever, because on game day, there's so much going on with these guys behind the scenes, and they're responsible for so many things. Hey, I've tried to talk to the guys at different shows, and it just don't work at times. But they're busy, so this is a really good opportunity to maybe meet these guys, whether it be Bill Miller from Top Notch, Taylor Feldkamp.
Impact will be there. TJ
Yeah.
from Dead Man, the head man from Dead Man, as I say, will be there. There'll be who else is it? Full Send this year's a new one. You got the ones from Virginia. So there'll be just, again, I'm sure we're not catching them all, but there'll be a ton of great ones.
We're not going to, because I just kind of sprung that on you, Frankie. So
I understand. I wasn't prepared. But
we
yeah,
just
and as
want
a promoter,
everybody-
I'm not sure why most promoters or more promoters don't take advantage of it. People, and I go back to the sport again as people. I guess I get to know and can tell more about a person when I meet him in person, and you can tell more about that show or what you think about that show or how that person talks about that show. And boy, just not sure why more promoters. I know right now with the way the world is and money and things are tight, and it is for all of us. But again, to get out and make that connection with that person from the Midwest or West Coast to East Coast, and it's well worth it. I'd like to see a lot more promoters get involved and get coming out and setting up. And again, there's still time. You guys are welcome to get a hold of me with any questions or concerns you got. We got everything. We got a 10 by 10 booth all the way up to I think a 20 by 40. I think is the biggest. I mean, you can put the big rigs in there. So, yeah, you guys. Looking forward to seeing more promoters this year show up and show out there for everything.
Okay. Now, I know that, the other thing that we've had the RC cars. We've had a lot of other things for the kids. We also have Power Wheels again this year.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
and I think Mrs. Freebie, Mrs. The Mama Ice, and Miss Darlene Smith, Mrs. Smith, will both be there taking care of the registration. So when you get there, go see Mama Ice or Miss Smith, and they'll get you registered. And I know there's Miss Swope from Bethany that works with Hardcore. She called me the other day, and she spent some of her money for the kids, and I mean they're going to get treats and different things, and she got everybody a nice checkered flag for the kids, and they're coming all the way from Pennsylvania to pitch in. She'll be helping doing some of the flagging for the youth. So Bethany and Blake and those guys, it takes an army, and we appreciate that.
Yeah. And the other thing with the Power Wheels and with your mom Scotty and my wife Darlene, I think that Darlene wants to work on some special stuff too, since this will be after Easter this year, and of course we're having the Easter egg hunt this weekend. For the expo, but I think we all know that with Easter, there's the most important thing, and I'll let Scotty pick this part up. I'm going to see how much he's read that book that he got from me. But, I'm sure that your mother and Darlene are going to kind of have some little messages and some stuff to influence the kids regarding what, Scotty?
The true meaning of Easter.
Which is?
That's a great question, Casey. What is the true meaning of Easter?
Oh, here we go. We're going to talk. They're going to probably have some stuff in there about. I'm going to coach you a little bit here. So,
all right, I'm listening. Here, I'll get my notepad out real quick.
What's that book you had? What's the title of it?
The Bible. It's a pretty good book.
Now hold back up. We're getting Easter here. You're a little ahead of yourself. The book that you pulled the passage out of the other night, and I asked you, where'd you get that? What was the name of that book?
My Presence.
Jesus Calling, right?
Yes.
Jesus. So that's who, when it comes down to Easter and we talk about the crucifixion and the resurrection, that gets you into the Easter envelope there, right? All right. Well, your mama's going to come beat you with that book after you couldn't answer that question. So, but anyway, just to get back on track, with that, and there's a lot behind this that, there's Demolition Derby and there's a lot of activities, but Frankie opened up saying that we're all truly blessed, to be able to do these things and share things and put on events like this. And in this landscape today, he's touched on, the world today as it is. And, this is the one weekend we get to really enjoy our sport, everybody involved in it, and bring the good things to it in the future with the kids and the youth, and trying to reinforce the values and all the things that we feel are important to helping them grow as young people in the early adults in their life. So, and then as we get into the, getting into that, after that, the cost of the entry this year, Frankie, unlike many other things in this world, I think we were able to keep the cost the same as last year, correct?
That is correct. It's $20 a person to get in, and 10 and under will be free. So can't do much anything for $20 a head today, and what you're going to get out of that, and you'll be able to get a ticket at the gate, and I'll be putting up a flyer, but there won't be no online ticket sales as it is. I mean, it was just again, keeping too much track of things, and so they'll be at the gate. You'll be able to come in and get your, buy your ticket right at the gate.
Yeah,
and you come right into the expo.
Last year, we noticed we had I think more people that bought online, and they weren't able to attend that day for whatever reason. Even though it's $20, we don't want you to spend the $20 unless you're coming. You know what I mean? So, we were able to maintain that cost, and we want it to be as affordable as we can make it for a family to get in and enjoy the day. And again, you get the 2 exhibition classes that evening too, correct, Frankie?
That is correct. The SMW full-size cadet class and the Jeffy's Fab Farm compacts. Again, we'll have 2 exhibition heats with the cadet full-size and the compacts. And also, I got to give a shout out to sticking with the youth program and all that we do with the youth. Again, both classes will be inspected by youth inspectors. So this year I have 2 teams. The compact team headed up by no other than Scott Drebneck Jr. and the full size headed up by Bristol Muldoon. And again, I've made it as real as I can for these guys. The questions that I get those questions. I send them to the group message, and we answer them as a group. We discuss it. We come back with an answer. It's a majority answer. I put down the car number and driver's name so that when we get there, it's not she said, he said. And the answers are all there logged. And again, this year it's been amazing. Of all the, I just put up both teams on our Facebook page, Demolition Derby Expo, and you can see them. And I think we're well represented across the county and Canada this year. So, and also there'll be some great mentors, officials with each youth official. I think you'll be probably some of the best in the country will be there to help us out with the youth program and the youth officials. And again, as we talked, it takes an army, and thank you to those mentor officials giving up their time to come and help out.
Did anybody pre-screen these mentor officials? Because, I've had I always pick on people, but I'm sure Scotty will give you an opinion. I'll give you an opinion. A lot of other drivers will give you an opinion on who they think should be a mentor official and teaching kids how to make the right call. Right, Frankie?
Yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure. I can tell you a couple of them now that it's been a couple years. And this year was easier than the first year. They were, maybe some of them listened about some things, but when I hear them answer, I'm not saying I am Mr. Official, but they questioned the same things I questioned. We didn't always agree, right, Freebie? And that, I mean, they asked the right questions and they went the right directions. We went back and looked at the rules and actually what it said, and both you teams have made great decisions, great discussions. I'm proud of all the kids.
From the little bit I get involved in some of the stuff with the discussions or rule topics, I'm often surprised by the things that comes out of those youth panels that never crossed my mind. And I think it's partly because, I know it's not partly, it's a huge part of it. Being exposed to the sport at our level, in the areas where we have been for so many years, you get a fog or a cloud that is always there of some kind, where the youth don't have that. They look at it very plainly, very basically, and they've really been making some great decisions, distinguishing right from wrong and not wavering, being very disciplined and following the rule sets, and having some great, and the even more amazing part is the conversations they have between each other, making these decisions.
Yes, sir.
Which is one of the byproducts of this expo, is seeing these young people work as a group, making great decisions on information where I looked at it and I never saw that answer. And it is the future of our sport. It's also the future of our country, our communities. And, we can take so many lessons from this part of the expo, or any part of the expo, with the youth programs and the mentor officials. Also, all these guys stepping up to say, hey, I'll work with this kid. I'll make sure they're safe. Thank you. For stepping forward, wanting to be a part of developing these kids, not on the track, but off the track, for future people. We've talked about this before, and I don't know a promoter anywhere that'll tell you I have a plethora of resumes and applications for inspectors and track officials.
Ding, 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 ding. Let me go off air. Holy moly. Yeah.
So, there's a lot of things that, we have a motive behind the expo. If anybody ever says, what's the motive behind this? It's not a motive, it's a mission. And that mission is, we want to build the future of the sport. And look, we're not saying we got all the answers, but we're starting with focusing on the youth part of it, because without kids being involved and developing into the different classes and carrying the torch through this and filling the driver's seats, waving the flags on the wall, being on an announcer's mic, going out there soliciting sponsorship or promotions.
Well, this year we didn't get
it to keep going.
Yeah, we touched on that. We early on in the discussions, we talked about, we have everything but a youth promoter. I will set the challenge up now for 2025.
Hand over the keys, Frank. You will take the reins.
I am looking for a youth that is interested in in promotions, and maybe someday being a promoter. And God bless his soul. I will take him under my wing as much and as possible. And when we start this expo, it will be with me in the phone calls and from the insurances to the ambulance to the fire to the EMS to our messages. And it is 24/7, 365. So, but I challenge a youth right today, right now, that would be interested in becoming our 2025, helping me as far as the promotional part of the Derby, and working with me. God willing, I'm still around to help out. I'm willing to take that kid under my wing. Again, I am not Mr. Promoter. I'm not saying that everything I do is right, or I'm not perfect, but I will do my best in guidance and with the utmost respect and abilities to teach them what I do know and what I've learned over the many, many, many years, and what I continue to learn as I do this. So,
you know what? If we get some kids to get into promotions and make some of the decisions as good as they make on them rule panels, we might be surprised what we see.
I'd be interested.
I mean, that's my take on that. So
yeah, that's just the deepest game, and I don't know if I was not ready for all that, or I was to pick one but now that I got the platform, thanks to you, Scotty, to put it out there, that maybe there's a kid will contact me that's really truly interested in seeing the other side of the fence and what and how it's all involved. And if that's the case, we're going to become very good friends.
But going back to being a mentor, the track officials that are working with these young people, and I even look out to a lot of the people that have been in this sport successfully for years. If you get the opportunity to help a kid get on the track in this cadet class, don't get caught up in all the technical car side of it. Try to focus on what you can do to help develop a young person in their focus, and just helping them achieve something that maybe thousands of people never will do, that sit in them stands, buy a ticket and watch or whatever. But being able to work with these kids, teach them some basic skills, let them work on the cars, put something else in front of them besides what the world has to offer out there, and just, it's a good place for them to start working, learning what it takes about putting in the work, getting a reward, sometimes putting in the work, not having success, but getting back up, going back at it again. And again, don't get caught up in some of the stuff that you normally would if you yourself go run a big event somewhere and some other things. Focus on what you can bring to the table to mentor a young person and get them into this sport, get them on some vocational skills, and just teach them some disciplines of hard work and getting out there to compete.
Sure. Goals, decision making, all those things that we do every day as a person, that we're going to revert back to some of those things that we do on Derby cars. Also, this level at this entry, and keep that in mind when building the cars. I know we've had some questions and things, and I get that it's your kid, it's your flesh, it's your blood, that you're their biggest cheerleader, and you want them to win and at all costs and all things. But we all know in Demolition Derby, there's going to be plenty of time for, well, we did a little of this, or we did a little of that, or we might have added that, or hey, you see this. For now, man, let's just keep it simple and fun, because there's going to be a lot of I don't even know if the right word is bad days, but there's going to be a lot of things in Demolition Derby as they continue that maybe is not so good and all those things. But for now, at this age, let's just keep it simple and fun, and make them want to get back in the car. Because I can tell you guys, with all the number of shows and everything out there, I don't see 1,000, new drivers every year. And it's the same pizza that we keep cutting up and passing out pieces. And a lot of promoters we all kind of leave hungry. So for now, let's just have some fun with these kids and start them off on the right foot and let them go from there.
Okay, so this year, at the expo, we've introduced the Jeffy's Fab Farm Youth Compact. We've been fortunate to have our SMW nameplate kind of associated with the youth full size, and we've done a lot of work with that. And we thought that the Jeffy's Fab Farm, considering the compact division for the cadet coming to the expo, was a great fit. With the Fab Farm being so entrenched in the compact world and also having a lot of available parts. And
right.
This ain't a commercial to sell parts. It just having the right people with the right program makes all the difference. And this is a great and I don't know much about compacts, but having the compact cadet class available, there's a lot of areas where I know Frankie worked with promoters where they don't necessarily have strong full-size drivers available, but they got compacts available, and it's a great way for the kids to get on the track. It can be a lesser investment from what Jeff and a lot of people have explained to me, and it's just like anything else. Get on the track, and if a lot of places the compact program fits. So this year we got 2 available doors to step through onto that track, 1 compact, 1 full size and entry level builds.
That's correct.
So, and Frankie's going to talk a little bit about the registration deadline. It's not necessarily a deadline, but Frankie's going to touch on that just to help us better prepare for the expo, to more or less prepare and put some things together a little better.
Yeah. We're going to call it March 15th. Because of layout and design, getting the exhibitor list up on who's coming, badges, getting some of the stuff at the mail outs that we need to do. We're going to need a couple weeks to get all that together. As Casey said, just because the online registration is off, don't mean you can't still register. Get a hold of me or Casey, Jeffy, or Mark, and we will make sure you get in there, get you registered for that day somehow, some way. But there's room for all, and all is invited. So, but March 15th, we'll be done with the online stuff, so that we can just get everything lined out that we need to get lined out for the expo.
All right. Well, I think overall that kind of covered all the topics on the expo. I don't know. Do you get questions sent into you, Scotty, or anything like that? Or?
We didn't really get many questions. Somebody asked in the one comments if they're going to have B7 all thread for sale there, which
I would imagine.
I'm sure.
Didn't really get many questions other than that. And then on to the next one.
Yeah, it's probably going to be the most abundant availability of Derby parts in North America that day. So
in one room.
If you can put it on a Derby car, I'm pretty sure that'd be the place to buy it.
Yeah, there's not much there that isn't available. Plus all the new stuff for 2024. So
you know what? If there ain't no B7 all thread, spend the money on the Freedom ticket, and you can get a whole package.
That's right. I get it. That's for sure.
All thread plus.
For sure.
How about you, Scotty? It seems like we're doing all your work for you tonight. You're supposed to be asking questions and directing this, interview or podcast thing you got going here, and it just seems like you're sitting there playing on your Xbox or something.
Listen, General, I'm just along for the ride, okay? We got the itinerary. It's going perfectly. I was about to send a text message out being like, we're at the hour mark. We got to get on to the next big topic, but we got to the deadline perfectly. We're doing wonderfully. Everything's going good. We got a good, steady viewership. Everything is going wonderful, Mr. General.
Well, how many
The
viewers?
general.
How many viewers you got?
Oh, wait, but between the two, we got about 50 live.
Okay.
Gotcha.
And that's just right
Well,
now.
Actually, I have a glass plaque that my one company, all the employees got me for Christmas one year, and it says Commander.
Oh, well, yeah, we nicknamed it General. So,
Oh, and that was probably one of my all-time favorite Christmas gifts. So,
well, we'll move on. We'll get going here. The youth program.
what's next?
We're going to talk a little bit about the
the youth national.
hardcore. Yep, youth nationals. Now, I was very fortunate when I came on the scene and I picked up the Great Stoneboro Fair, and I had noticed I had been to the previous shows there by the Bad Habit crew, and I seen youth kids in there, and I was like, wow. So I was very fortunate when we picked up that show, and I met Casey and everybody, and we started talking about the youth, and they had been doing it, like you said, at the Keystone Nationals, and I seen it again at Stoneboro, and when I brought it to fruition back in Fayette County, I mean, that was the first youth show in the Tri-County area ever, and that was at the Farmington Fire Department up in Farmington, PA, and from there, we just continued to build and chip away at things, and with the guidance of Casey, and we created a vision. And every year it just kept getting better and closer until finally one phone call, and I was like, you know what, Casey, I want to do the Youth National Championship. And he said, what? And I was like, well, yeah. So it was a great phone call, and that's sort of how it all started. And we talk a lot. It's deep, and I talk about a mission statement for our Youth National Championship, and it's the atmosphere, the fellowship, the friendship, and the sportsmanship, the memories made, and the Derby breaks out on the side, and that's so important to us. Really in that order. The Derby there, secondary, all that friendship and those memories and the families and things that happen there. The big decisions, the ups, the downs, the thrill of victory, the agony of defeat. You call it what you want. From the time they leave, struggles of getting the car ready, getting there. It's really something. And last year, with 52 entries and over 15 states, we're looking to better that. And those kids, in 1 hour, 33 cars were destroyed. I mean, if you walked in the middle of it and I told you they were youth kids, you'd have never known it. Casey, maybe a little bit about our mission statement and the program, a little bit touch on.
Yeah. There's countless things. Our youth program, there's some basic ideals that I feel are necessary with any program to make it successful. The first being integrity, and the right people. So we got to thank our staff that, and we've been able to build a staff for this that's been second to none. Davey Chapman, Rado 5, Fred, everybody that has stepped up every year.
Yeah.
Jeff, I mean, we got, and we
Yeah,
can't.
TJ's helping spec too. I mean,
we've had fellow promoters that have helped us, and it just there's so many people that have, like I said, behind the scenes that come and help do these things that we never asked. They offered. This year especially, I think we have even more on reserve. We got what you talk about a team. We're like.
Well, I spoke to I think, and as we come across and get more of the central the states in the Midwest. I think Will Steinbeck this year is probably going to be part of our inspection team. Just to get that again. I'm all for promoters working with promoters and a team working with the team. So
Yeah,
absolutely. I think we spoke with Will, and I think it's going to be great to have some of those guys from the Midwest out there helping with inspection and stuff this year.
And like I said, when we started, we had this first, here in PA, when we had that first youth division full size kickoff, back at the Keystone Nationals, Davey was a pivotal part of that. And, here he is today as our head tech, head inspector, for the youth program. And it's a big job to look at 52 cars that are built to this detail. And, so having people come in and help and just the safety standpoints alone, having an overlap on that, there's never too much. So that's welcomed.
Yep.
But
again, the addition
memories.
Yep.
The things that are developed with these families that, chose to travel last year from as far away as California.
That is correct.
And unfortunately, we don't get to experience all that went on at their home, their garage. But, and I'm jealous, but what we've been able to provide with that, or maybe not us, but what's been a byproduct of that's worth everything that we do. Because that's something that can't never be taken away from those folks that have traveled and competed. And just like Will Steinbeck, he brought a kid out. I mean, he took a big commitment and brought a kid out here to compete, and then took him clear back home to Nebraska. I mean, it's not across town to go to Nebraska or California.
Sure.
But developing the future of this sport and investing in the youth, that's where it's at for us. So, and trying to do it right. We're not perfect. We're not trying to be perfect. We're just trying to stick to some basic principles that help us do a good job. And,
absolutely.
As long as we don't lose track of those few things, everything else should continue to be as successful. Bringing the Jeffy's Fab Farm compacts on board this year for the Youth National. Yeah. We had 52 full size last year. I know, Frankie, the Nationals this year for the final confrontation or whatever you're in show, it pretty much center stage is a youth program at Hard.
Absolutely. It is the Youth National Championship at the final confrontation. How about that?
Yep. So, the youth classes, if I understand this right, are going to be the premier classes. It'll be the SMW full size. It'll be the Jeffy's Fab Farm compact division. And
that's correct.
So that day you're going to open up, and I don't want to get ahead of where we're at, but I guess since we're on the topic, it makes sense. You're going to be bringing in an open entry cadet class, correct?
That is correct. For the youth that either don't get nominated, but their brother's coming or their cousin's coming, or again, we'll talk a minute about the SMW youth build. We're going to open up that cadet class, which is the same class we're running at the expo. Way more of an entry level, easy build. That middle of the road stepping stone for full size to the SM youth building. I'll touch on that youth build. Sometimes we get criticized about that youth build, that it's it's a big motor, a big money motor, a big as advertised. I will say this: I won't sugarcoat this. I will be dead honest with you. One of the things we talk about is building champions. Along with that champions, it comes the ability and the precision that be able to build to that higher level. When we talk about champions, I am talking about the best youth driver in North America at this point. Okay. So with that being said, Yes, this build is the SMW Youth is a higher end build. Yes, it's very good equipment. Yes, they're very good cars. Yes, they got nice wheels and tires and motors. Um, I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to try and call it something it is. That is building champions at its highest level as advertised. So understand that what we're doing, we probably all would have been on like the back shoot, of Talladega if we could, or in the world of outlaw late models, but we all can't, we all couldn't. But there are ones who can, and that's motorsports at its next or highest level. And in Demolition Derby, with this youth national championship, it's not just a name. It is what it is. When you're done, and on October, when that person, that heat or that feature is over, that is the best youth driver in North America. So just think about that and what the expectation of it.
And the other thing that you can expect out of this SMW full size is just because you got the resources in your car doesn't make you a shoe-in for that big trophy. I can tell you that, and I can guarantee it. Because every kid that gets nominated, no matter whether they come out of an area where they don't have a rule set that we're using, and maybe they come out of a street stock, their heart is full of competition when they get on that track at this championship. And
you better believe it.
And another thing that we see is, Frankie's going to tell you about, the best built cars and that. We had 52 cars last year from all over the country, North America, including Canada. And if you don't believe me, you can ask Davey Chapman. You can ask anybody that was in the inspection team. There was no car that we saw that was significantly underbuilt that didn't have an opportunity to be competitive. So with that being said, I would suggest you get your butt in one of them expo things and listen to Robbie Criddington about 4.6s. I would get over to Jeff Showman, talk to him about LSs. I would talk to Adam Foshi about power plants on the SB2 platform, or Jeff Cloyer, or Brent Johnson, or Jeff Koth. There's countless good shops and great engine builders out there.
Also, speaking of motors, sorry to interrupt you there, Keith.
I want to talk about the champion last year. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What was his name, Frankie?
Jacob Hosteller.
That's it. Out of West Virginia. Out of By God, West Virginia.
By God, close to, if everybody knows we're Terrata, we're back in there. By God, no man's land.
Yep, beautiful West Virginia. And I'm on a little history. We're going to talk, and you're going to see some stuff come out about that fine young man. And he's also, I believe, helping at the expo. Correct, Frankie?
He is one of our youth officials. And also, I'll say, started with us, I believe, at the beginning at 12 or 13 years old, has been in our youth program from the beginning.
Yes. And I'm going to tell you for fact, his father put that power plant together that drove him to victory lane and always took care of all of his under the hood needs. Him and his dad built that car, every car they ever did. They're also, and I'm going to tell you this because I know for a fact, because I've been in the inspection lines and personally inspected his cars. Since day one, them coming through inspection, I don't believe that car has ever had more than one infraction on the inspection sheet. So if you want to sit there and say that you go into this division and you have to have a cut list or you have to have the traditional overbuilt program to win, you don't. You just got to follow these rules, look at what you're given, use them, and maybe you'll be a champion like that young man from West Virginia.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to plug that in there before everybody gets too hung up on certain things.
Yeah. Okay.
Matter.
I'll move on to this year at the. We'll be paying back 10 spots in both the Jeffy's Fab Fat Farm Compacts and the SMW full size. This year, after watching the heats last year, heats and features, a little bit old school, you will be getting a trophy for making the feature. I think that in itself, there is a feat with the competitiveness and what goes on. So everybody that makes the feat, you'll be getting heat trophies for the winners.
Yep.
Also, this year, with registration, your driver will get in his weekend pass. Everything will be in his entry fee. That was one of the things, again, that was brought to my attention. I needed to address, and we're fixing what we can when we can, and that's part of it. Casey touched on the cadet classes. Just real quick, we'll have the other classes, also some of the adult ones, like Lightwell Warrior and that. We're going to treat some of those other ones as maybe a cleanup. If you got something, your boy's running, you got something in the cadet, or that's like a pro stock build kind of, or van, or most wanted fine art. There'll be a lot of other classes. Put 2 on the trailer. This year more than ever, in October, we're going to need your support and people to come and show up. As I think the best is yet to come for this event, and we want 2024 to be epic. So
heat qualifying trophies, sometimes you got a long road to go, and we come up with that idea because back in the day, Scotty, used to be about every derby around, you had to win twice. You had to win your heat to get into the feature, and then you had to place in the top 3 if you wanted to go home with any kind of money. Not like you that just get to go out there now, show up, ride around, and go home with a trophy and some money.
I don't want to do that. That's what everybody else wants to do. Heats and features are like that. We can just show up, drink beer, and derby. I'm like, let's stay up all night and build hard cars till 3 in the morning. That's derbying, but I mean, hey, to each their own.
Well, I had to make sure you were still awake there. So,
hey, Dan Laughlin asked a question. He said, "Question for people who don't know." Most should know, but how does one become nominated to be in the Youth National Championship? I'm sure there might be some who don't know how to be a part of this.
Great question.
Yeah, I'll take that one. A lot of the shows at each promoter's show, that's usually the top 3, the top 5. It could be the top 10, depending on them. That each promoter does it a little different, but they will, to get nominated. I'm on my list here. I'll be reading off a list of participating promoters, and the only way that you will get to come to this show is to partake in one of those nomination events at that participating promoters event. So each show has their own thing. It's usually a top 3. It may be a hard luck guy, maybe a hard hitter. That I leave up to each individual promoter on who and how many, and who deserves that.
And if this was actually on the list to get to, but since the question got answered a little early, we might as well just tear into this topic, Frankie, and then we can save the best for last there that we got.
Okay.
Okay. So Frankie's talking a little bit about the nominating promoters and the shows where you go to earn your spot for this championship. Okay. And if I say something that's not correct, Frankie, correct me, immediately. There was some criteria set in place this year. Number 1 for nominating promoters, correct, Frankie?
That is correct, sir.
Okay. And the other thing to keep in mind is a lot of the promoters that are participating in this series, or whatever, however you want to brand it, not all promoters are running the same rule set, but most are, correct?
Yeah, some of the new ones are using the same rule set. You'll see everything from wire to again the SMW full size set. So make sure to wherever you're running that you check the rule set for that nominating promoter, knowing that if you're in October, you will be running the nomination. You will be running the SMW Youth full size rule set at the final confrontation, the youth championship.
So, even if you qualify in an area, and I think we got to still answer the question. We probably didn't answer it correctly. It was Dan Locke, you said?
Dan Laughlin.
What's that?
Dan Laughlin. He's with, I believe, Full Send Promotions.
Oh,
I believe.
Yeah, Dan.
Sorry, Laughlin. Okay.
Yeah, Dan Laughlin. Yeah.
We have a Dan Locke over this way, and I thought maybe one of his grandkids are ready to start running already. So, but anyway, so even if you qualify at a promoter show that maybe uses a different rule set, when you go to the championship, you'll be running the SMW rule set.
That's correct.
So if you was to show up there with a street stock style car, you're probably going to go through inspection pretty quick. and
right.
And you
we had to California. Yeah. And I think that Lexi that came from Nebraska, I mean, those guys were in wire.
Right.
Where they
wanted
to
make it clear that, these kids, they've been able to come out of street stock style build areas, build a car, show up and be competitive.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
make sure that, when you do that, but even so that day, to be clear, the cadet class will be open entry that weekend for the nationals.
That'll correct.
Be an open entry. So you don't
that
have
will
to
be an open entry.
The entry level cadet. Okay. And while we're on this topic, I'm just going to put it out there. Just because there's an open entry cadet class that day, we don't expect somebody like Ryan Clark or Cale Norris to show up. Right? Does everybody understand that? I hope everybody understands that if you show up in a cadet car that day, even if it's an open entry, that is an entry level beginner novice class.
Sure.
And, everybody says, "Oh, don't inspect the driver." Well, if you're a kid that's won 10 youth shows and you show up in that cadet car that day, we're inspecting you.
We'll put you in the SMW rule set, and you'll be surprised.
For some reason, but the other side of that is, for entry level kids that, they want to be on that same stage that weekend or just be around to experience the nationals and meet a lot of great new friends and kids from all over North America, and families want to meet other families. It's a great place to, do that. Most of y'all got 2-place trailers available anyway. So go get nominated and get one of your other junior drivers or, the neighbor kid in a cadet car,
So one of the questions that was asked, it was Penwells that asked this. He said, basically, are the youths allowed to run both youth classes or just one of them?
No, I mean, I believe some kids.
Not the cadet class, the compact and the full size, the SMW full size.
Right. Absolutely. So we have some kids that are probably will be nominated in both the Jeffy's Fab Farm compact class, and hopefully there'll be some that will be run that class and the SMW full size. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure they'll be pulling some cars that double duty that day, and I'm excited.
If you run, if you get a nomination and you're running a compact in a show that's a compact show that's nominating, then you're eligible for the compact national championship.
Well, I think Cam Fenwell just got third this weekend.
If you run a full size car and you qualify and get nominated by a promoter in that full size, you're eligible to run the national full size side.
That's correct.
The answer to that would be yes, if you get a nomination in a small car and a big car.
Right.
But I'm going to say that I don't think we want to see you get 2 nominations in a big car and show up with a small car. We want you to earn your badge in a small car.
Right. And it's only one nomination. Like if you can't get nominated twice or in a full size or can't bring 2, it's one nomination per event.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And real quick, since we're
it.
talking about nominating, I want to give a shout out because as a promoter, we can't do this without the unification and the bringing together. And when I say we, I mean we. As a whole, as a group, promoters have come together, and I can't do it without the other participating promoters. And I want to give a shout out to Derby Icons, Smash It, Dead Man Derby, Top Notch Promotions, Impact Motorsports, Sam Williams at Ultimate Derby, Stern Dirt Racing, War Racing Promotions out of Ohio, R&R Destruction, and I believe that's Iowa, Toast Promotions, the Williams Enterprise out of California, the Spring Extreme. Mr. Williams has been amazing to work with, amazing to talk to. You got to check them out. He does some amazing youth interviews. So go check out the Williams Enterprise groups. This year, I believe in Indiana, we got Team Derby Sharks. Also promoting some derbies out in the Indiana area. Full Send Derby Promotions with Alex that group. Bent Metal Motorsports. Chaos Motorsports. I believe they're out of Minnesota. Hardcore Derby Promotions. Appalachian Outlaws, which is another local one. The Tioga County Fair and the Troy Fair. And those guys out in the out east there. Wilbur Promotions with Big Will and New Beginnings Derby team from Ohio, and Chaos in the Valley from the Virginia group. Again, Matt Kingery. I am looking for the Arkansas, Kentucky, Tennessee, that area. I'm not sure what's going on or why, but I do not have one promoter from any of those areas, which Kentucky and Tennessee blow my mind. As many people in Derby down there that we don't have one promoter that's interested in stepping up with the youth program.
That's
it's amazing.
If I can chime in there real quick, Frankie, we at our expo we seen a huge response last year in attendance from Kentucky, and this year with Robbie being a big part of it and a lot of stuff behind the scenes, we anticipate that to grow. But as we look at that corridor down through Tennessee and Kentucky, it is kind of a conundrum of why we don't have somebody there with all the available drivers and the resources that come out of Kentucky.
The youth classes they have in place already.
That this sport is super strong in Kentucky, and there's top notch builders, and the programs that come out of there. So it just, I guess we're just asking a question. Can anybody tell us why or where to look? Why is there nothing there for the youth? Because all the gardens planted, it's there to cultivate it, but we're not seeing it. So
right. But again, my name and number, I'm easy to get a hold of. Message me, call me, email me. Smoke signals. I made those, but I don't close.
Did I see a show in Louisiana? Somebody posted it.
I believe it's Mississippi. I think Jeff Fatty just put one on.
Yeah, right. Yep.
I think it was Mississippi. It's the Track Shot Live's next show. I'm pretty sure. Indoor arena looks like really nice facility.
Yeah. So there's a lot of areas that we haven't had the opportunity to go see the sport. In them different areas not used to. When I talk, you hear me talk about Derby culture and different cultures from Derby. There's more out there's undiscovered territory out there.
New York, Michigan.
Or
don't have anybody in New York or Michigan people.
I know they Derby in Alaska. British.
I'm game.
So
well, it's 9:30 on the head. So let me get to this.
Hold on, Frankie, real quick before we get to that. Somebody asked, what is the age for the cadet class?
12 to 16.
Perfect. All right. Continue on, Frankie.
It's 9:30, and we're going to get things wrapped up in here.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to tell everybody that's participating, again, I can't do it without all the promoters and all the help. And I want to announce that in October at the Youth National Championship, the SMW youth full-size SMW class will pay $10,000 to win. I said it. It's guaranteed. The SMW youth full-size will pay $10,000 to win. It will be the first time in the biggest class in North America for a youth full-size. You are the show. They will be the show. All the lights will be on them as far as introduction. We're proud as Punch. I'm humbled to be able to bring this for the first time ever in Derby car history. We're not just doing another Derby here. We're making history here. It will be a $10,000 to win youth full-size feature.
Yep.
Woohoo!
I say it now, freebie. Now we do it, huh?
Oh yeah. For those of you guys that don't know, when Frankie first called me and told me this, I have never been more mad at this man in my entire life. And the first thing I said was, I said, Frankie, I've been running you since I was 10. 8 years goes by, and that's when this comes along. Oh, I was.
What do you want to do? Why don't you call Joe Biden, see if you can get repetitions or whatever?
You know what? I'm trans age. Actually, I'm 13.
Yeah, and I'm gonna beat you with a stick next time I see it.
Well, Scotty, I mean, let's say that you're proof of the pudding of where it started and where it's going. You're online talking about running the Blizzard Bash and things like that. And again, one of the missions, building champions and guys and drivers like you that started here, that ran through our youth program. And now you're going to run into Blizzard Bash? Are you kidding me? You know how proud we are? We're like proud parents. You did this. We worked with you. We got to know you and your family. You got to know us. And now I'm going to watch this kid run into Blizzard Bash. Tell you what, I'm proud of that. That's a memory. That's a fact they can't take away from none of us. That's so right. You keep what you're doing, young man. You keep focused. You stay in your lane. And be the best person and the best Derby car guy you can. And you're going to go places.
Touching on that, I remember it was the year I almost got loaded at the Bash in the youth class. So it was I think it was 2021. I think that's when it was.
That's a tough crew.
Casey, it was after everything. Like, we're about to go out there, but then Casey has his driver's meeting separate than when Smash It does. Yeah. And we're going through it, and Casey says, he's like, this group of drivers here might be one of the best ever. And then he goes on and says, like, there's guys here that are going to be in Blizzard Bash, like some of the biggest events in the country.
That's correct.
Which, proof of the pudding.
We are. Because if you're
cultivating drivers.
If you kids aren't competing at this level, our SMW, youth full size is meant to produce the future drivers for every venue. And if you're not in those venues, we're not doing our job.
That's correct.
So, or we're not doing our job well enough. But to go back to to get the spotlight off Scotty here a little bit,
yeah, his head's starting to swell.
But we talked about before you go to Kansas, you got to go through a level 3 training program here before we get you out there. So,
I'll be over.
yeah,
Finish.
you're gonna have to spend about 6 weeks here. So tell your mom you're gonna have to change your address temporarily.
It's like Rocky when we're going to Russia. You know, we got a big fight. We got to train.
Yeah, well, you can say those words. That sounds easy, but anyway, Frankie announced this amazing payout for the youth. But again, not only that, but as usual, we get a lot of supporters that bring stuff for contingency prizes, and that's going to continue again this year. It's probably going to grow even more so. We look to have this year, we'll have some welding equipment, we'll have some cutting equipment, safety gear. I know the one, I'm trying to remember when. I mean, we see so much stuff go through these programs, but probably
there was wheels, tires, transmissions.
Probably even another couple crates of welding hoods.
Yeah.
I don't believe there's been too many youth programs where we've done these big shows where very few kids go home without something that they took away from here.
That's correct.
And just some other things that I'm working on a side note. I'm not going to give a lot of details currently for some specific reasons, but I have been talking to some outside entities for some sponsorship and some support for not only just this event, but a continued youth support system for youth programs, and hopefully not just for all of this and the nationals, but possibly some other areas. And when I say that, you just have to trust me a little bit that I've had some very good dialogue, and I'm making some progress with some great things. So you'll see more of that to come. I'm sure we can come back at a later time, Scotty, and visit that when I can release some details.
Sounds like a plan.
No, it'll be a great thing. So, and a lot of fun, a lot of good stuff. So I'm very, very, very excited for that. But the 10K full size to win. When Frankie told me, this was and just so people know, there's a lot of collective effort behind everything that goes into this youth championship. Okay. It's just not one or two people that decide what's happening and how.
That's correct.
And going back to the criteria and the people that are involved, I believe, and you correct me if I'm wrong, Frankie, but you make it a point to, anytime there's a topic of anything that's what's felt important, you kind of run it by about everybody that is in what we would call that group of participating promoters to get their input. Or
absolutely. I preach about promoters working with promoters, and there's got to be I feel there's an open line of communication. I feel at any time, anyone on that list I just told you, I can pick up the phone and call and talk to them. Which is again the start where, hey, when's your show? Hey, when's my show? Working with each other within reason or distance, that they're not on top of each other, or they're this or they're here, or hey, what's your rule set? They've all had some sort of input with me or some sort of conversation. It's about us. When I tell you it's about we and us, I mean that. I'm not just blowing smoke. It's real. I've pushed it from the beginning. I'll continue to push it. We all need to win. We all work hard, and that's why this year I created the criteria, which I got some pushback a little bit of this on creating a promoter criteria. But again, I'm not going to. We're going to keep this at a level. I know the kids are there's somebody there that works with the youth in the program. They have somebody within house that deals with it. Proper inspections, proper licensing, proper insurances, proper all those things. These are legitimate promoters at a certain level, and we were going to continue to keep it that way.
It wasn't just something put on somebody's program for the night to fill in entry fees.
That's correct.
Youth class. It's a youth commitment.
Yeah.
And that's where, not only do we have the where Frankie developed the criteria for the promoters, what we feel with the mission statement and the ideals of the youth program, the same things carry over. And what you find out is it's hard to expect a group of young people to produce the traits that you want when they don't have the right people to lead them that way.
Right.
So anybody who wants to say, well, the criteria is bad, well, excuse, some people for wanting to establish a standard to direct the youth in this sport to a certain direction. And we're not telling you that, it's this, or this. It's just basic things that we feel are important. And when we find that the same people that are carrying those, they pass that on to the youth in the program, and you get a better result on and off the track.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yep. Yep.
So, okay.
Structure.
One, are we ahead of schedule?
I think we're all ready to wrap it up, right? I'm way past my bedtime. I know that.
Yeah, me too. I'm home alone this week other than the two dogs, so.
Scotty driving. We made it easy there, Iceman, for you tonight. How about that? We gave your podcast some structure, and the general showed up that there was structure coming, right?
Yeah, that's
right?
all. That's what happens when the general shows up.
That's the first outline you ever seen on your podcast. So,
did you ever listen to those other podcasts I told you about, Scotty?
I might have. I might not have. Might have forgot. Maybe I didn't forget.
You didn't do it.
All right. That said, stay tuned. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on all your social media. Frankie Guy, Smith Metalworks, Jeffy Schumann, and ME527. All the promoting nomination promoters. Hardcore Demo Derby Expo. Like us. Follow us. The more the better, the more the merrier. Scotty, thank you for giving us the platform to spread the good word. Just want to say good night and thank you, and God bless everybody.
Awesome. Thank you for coming on. Thank you all for tuning in. Casey, you got anything you want to say before we get off here?
No, just thank you for having us on for an hour and 42 minutes, and that's probably about as long as you could last in a feature anyway before you're
Oh, here we go.
We're going to teach him to finish.
Yeah, but anyway, for questions about anything Expo related, www.demoderbyexpo.com.
Right.
Anything that you need to know is on there.
Yeah.
You can message Frankie Guy, or Mark Elliott, ME527, Jeff Showman, myself. A lot of us have a lot of responsibilities outside of this stuff, so just be patient. You will get a response from somebody. And again, if you have questions about the cadet classes that day, or if you're a promoter listening tonight for the first time, feel free to ask questions. And if you have questions about, is a youth program a good idea, a great idea? Depending upon where you're at, what state, what continent. We learned some important things about Canada with youth programs, right, Frankie?
That's correct.
With age limitations, motorsports.
Yeah.
It's pretty interesting when you talk about a motorsport that you're involved with the youth, and it's intercontinental per se.
Yeah. That's for sure.
But I think our earliest nominations have come out of Canada, right?
That is correct. I'm pretty. We've gotten 3 Jeffy's Fat Farm compacts coming already.
Yeah. So
Canadians.
This national championship for the compacts. I mean, I suspect we're going to see these things coming in by the droves. So, I mean,
Yeah, 52 full size. I mean,
nothing would be better than having, 200 plus youth contenders at the championship for all that money. I mean,
that's correct.
or just to have the experience to travel and enjoy that. And again, and for the people traveling, I know there's a lot of people locally to Dunbar. Stephen Sickles. I know I'm not volunteering anybody by no means, but there's some great people in the areas that I know made a lot of people feel welcome. Made some resources available that made it a little more comfortable for them being so far off the ranch. And don't be afraid to talk to some people and reach out. It might be your best friend that day. You might need that little extra help.
Yes, sir.
But definitely a great program.
Thanks again, everyone. Good night, all.
Awesome. All right. Thank you guys for coming on. Thank you all for tuning in. We shall see you guys next week.